Hello and welcome back to another sound design tutorial. Today I'll show you how to make a synthesized string section that sounds like this. It's quite a versatile sound, and I was going for a sustained and bowed sound. As usual in my tutorials, I'll take you through every single step and explain the why and the how behind each step. The final preset, along with a bunch of other production-ready presets, are in my Serum sound bank for anyone that wants to get that. And if you already have it, I've just released another batch of free presets for that pack. There's more information in the description, but let's waste no time and just start this tutorial. You should be able to follow along with any polyphonic synthesizer. First thing I'm going to do is on the first oscillator, I'm just going to select a saw wave like this. Many different wave shapes work, which I will show at the end of the tutorial, but I want something very full, very buzzy, and very bright that I can take sound away from to create this string section. I'm going to start by adding more voices. I'm going to increase to 7 voices of unison, and then I'm going to pull the D tune down. So this might be called stereo or unison D tune or voices, depending on which synth you're using. The next step is to turn the filter on because it's a super bright sound. I want to filter away some of the top end. The filter I'm going to be using is an MG low 6 dB per octave. So that I believe is a Moog filter, and it's low pass, which means it lets the low frequencies through, but it starts to gently cut away the top end. I'm going to pull the cutoff down to about 100 Hertz. I'll let you hear this. Around 100 or so. And I'm also going to turn the resonance down because I don't want a resonant peak in my filter like this. So we've got a more controlled sound. I'm also going to turn up the drive amount just a little bit. It'll make more sense later on why I want to saturate this sound. After setting up the basic filter, I'm going to go to envelope 1. This is your amplitude envelope. So in your synthesizer, this is controlling the volume envelope of that first oscillator. I need a nice long attack. Now I find that around 1.5 seconds is really good for strings. It gives this quite emotional and almost passionate rise up to the peak of the note. This attack time here is going to be quite dependent on your mix. So you could have strings which were a lot more immediate, or you could actually draw them out even more. So I'm going to set that to about 1.5 seconds. The hold time I'll leave at 0, and then the decay I'm going to make last around 5 seconds and pull the sustain down to around -10, -12 dB. This just means that once the notes peak, they just gradually decrease down to a level that is not so in your face and so forward in the mix. It means that you sort of hear the chords start and then they gently fade back into their position in the mix. The release, I'm going to add at least 500 milliseconds because I don't want the strings to just suddenly stop. I need to have a short decay, otherwise they can sound really unnatural. It's sounding quite artificial, but this is the basis of the sound. And now I'm going to go to envelope 2. So in your synth, you're looking for your filter envelope now. I'm going to link envelope 2 to the cutoff of the filter. A lot of synths have this already linked. I'm going to pull the amount down, and what I'm trying to do is I want that cutoff to open up ever so slightly when I start playing notes, so that as the volume builds, so does the amount of high end in the sound, and then it cuts back down again. So the filter is going to look quite similar, around 1 second of attack, and then a decay of maybe 3 or 4 seconds, pull the sustain all the way down to around 20 so that it does quite quickly get back to its lowest amount. I'm going to push this filter all the way up so you can hear the effect very dramatically. You hear how the filter opens up and lets the high end through and then just tames it again. that sounds quite artificial, so if I pull it back, so it's just maybe, somewhere between 5 and 10. The next critical step in adding more realism to the sound is to make sure that it is velocity sensitive. So if I play a light velocity on a key, I want it to be quiet. If I play a very high velocity, I want it to be loud and passionate. Right now, if you see here in the velocity, no matter what velocity I play in, the volume is always the same. So to change this, I pull the level down slightly on this oscillator, and I just link the velocity to the level. And now if I play a low velocity chord, it's quiet, and if I play with much higher velocity, it's loud. I know I make tutorials about compression, trying to get things at the same level, but if your performances don't have dynamics in it, they're just not going to sound realistic and they're not going to sound good. Let's keep moving quick on to the next step. If I go to the global tab, I really should have done this at the start, but I'm just going to turn my oscillator quality up to the absolute maximum. I think that really helps with this sound. Then I'm going to go to the effects chain. Now, all the effects I'm adding here do not have to happen inside the synth. You can go onto a mixer track and add your own EQs, reverbs, and delays, but I'll just do it inside the synth because it keeps things nice and easy. First thing I'm going to do is turn on an EQ, and I'm going to roll off the low end and the high end. I'm going to adjust the Q factor so there's none of these resonant bumps. I don't want these kind of things happening. The top end, I'm going to start gently rolling off everything above about 4.5K, I think. And the bottom end, I'm going to roll off the stuff below about 100. And I'll turn this, I'll play a chord and turn this on and off. This achieves two things. It controls the hiss and buzz in the high end that sounds very synthetic, and it also means that you can play much lower notes without just being overwhelmed with bass. Okay, I'm going to drag that up to the top, and then I'm going to add on some distortion. This might seem odd, but if I add a little bit of tube distortion to the lows and the mids, I'll drive this a lot and let you hear it. Now, when I was modeling this, I was trying to go for a sound very similar to the string section inside Analog Strings by Output, and they have a really cool distortion module in there. And what I found is that in certain mix situations, if you turn the drive up and you add a little bit of mix in there, having that little bit of distortion and crunch or warmth, saturation, it can really help this sound really sit where it needs to in the mix, and it's kind of difficult to explain, but it just makes the sound a little bit more full. Possibly the most important effect is adding reverb. All I'm going to do is have a little bit of a low cut to cut off a little bit of the low end, not too much, and then just turn the mix up, and immediately this transforms the sound. Sounds really, really nice, very lush, spacious. I find especially in the low end, it takes a little bit of the synth edge off it, and it makes it sound a little bit more brassy, a little bit like maybe there's a cellist and the low end of the brass just interacting down there. Finally, I always like coupling reverb with a little bit of delay. You can do the delay first into the reverb or the delay afterwards. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to do a normal quarter note delay. I'm going to push the delays into the top of the frequency spectrum, and again, we're just creating movement. I don't want it to sound, like a typical quarter note delay where you just play a note and then it's like repeat, repeat, repeat. No, I want just to blend this in so that it just adds movement, swirl, and depth to the sound. So that really is 90% of the sound done, but there's a few special tweaks I did to the one that I've put in my sound bank, and I'll take you through those for anyone that's interested. But these are the sort of creative things you try later on once you've got your sound, just to try and get another couple of % out of it. So what I did try was a few different wavetables. I've actually found one in here that I think sounds even better. Analog, Basic Mini, just sounds even smoother, but it doesn't have the same hollow and smooth quality of a sine wave. The next optional step I did was turn on oscillator B, turn the volume all the way down, and I selected from basic shapes here, analog, basic shapes, and it was this one over here, position 7, and then I used this to do some FM modulation on this first one here. So I right click down here, FM from B. I actually set these two up in reverse in my patch, but this will sound exactly the same. If I increase this amount a lot, it just completely destroys the sound, but if you dial it back, it can really help it sit alongside other instruments, depending on the song. Just back to there. Now if I added more voices of unison to this, and pulled the detune in, what this seems to do is add this sort of element of wrongness. It seems to adjust lots of little micro pitches and the expression to just make it feel more realistic. It feels like not everything is so tight, so on time, so perfectly in tune. And if you can find a nice level for this, it kind of adds this maybe subtle vibrato effect. Then what I would do is take an LFO, such as LFO 1, and I actually linked this to the detune amount here, and I had this bouncing backwards and forwards in time. Which again I think adds this very subtle vibrato that doesn't sound overemphasized, whereas if I simply linked this LFO to the pitch, you might think it would give a great vibrato sound, but it tends to just sound really artificial. Something I did again experimental in the pack was to take another LFO on envelope mode, and what I did with this was use the matrix to link LFO 2 to the rate of LFO 1, and now as LFO 2 increases over the course of say 2 bars, the LFO speed here increases. So you start with like a slow vibrato and then it gradually increases. If I increase this just like this here, pull the rate down, it should start at half and then get faster and faster. So if I push this a little bit more, it should get even faster. There we go. Anything you can do like that to try and really pull a sound alive and make it interesting in some way. And remember that all these things add up. So a little bit of FM, changing the detune, automating that detune, they don't make a huge difference on their own, but when you stack up 5 or 10 of these, you can start having a big difference. However, most of the sound was already created like 5 minutes ago, so this stuff really is just trying to get an extra 1 or 2% out of it. Finish it off, what I did with all the presets in my pack is that I assigned the macros to certain key effects such as filters, attack and release, and this way you can shape the sound using the macros without having to dive into all of the little effects here. And that way, although you have one preset, you can actually shape it dramatically and get, dozens of different sounds out of that one preset just by using the 4 macros, even if you know nothing about sound design. And I've done that for all the basses, leads, pads, the strings, the drums, all of the various sounds in my sound bank. And I also want to highlight for people that don't know about it, it comes with lifetime free updates. So you buy the pack once, and then every so often, maybe every 2 to 4 months, I release an update with a load more presets, and you get all those for free. You'll get sent another one-time email just with a link to your fresh new preset pack to download. That's the way I want to do it, lifetime free updates. So if you are interested, do check that out in the description. But I hope this was helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.